Welcome to the Mighty Dragon, and joining me today on the podcast is actor Carey Jones, who we have just seen in the Book of Boba Fett playing Black Krrsantan. Hello, Mr. Jones, how are you today?
Hello. Very good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited to have you on the podcast. You were my favourite character, hands down, on the Book of
Oh,
Boba
thank you.
Fett.
Thank you so much.
Just think that character was just so fascinating and actually has quite a rich history. How did it feel playing this powerful Wookiee?
Pretty great. Pretty great. And being able to do some things on screen that a Wookiee hasn't done
Yes.
or seen a unhinged Wookiee to that degree, I think was pretty awesome.
Absolutely. What sort of prep and research did you do for this character?
Well, I mean, because when I got it, I didn't really know the backstory of Krrsantan, so I did a ton of looking at the Marvel comics and the graphic novels and a lot of stuff online and a lot of fan theories I read about and just to figure out kind of who this guy was and where he came from and his whole sort of story is what I did for a while, actually, because there's so much out there. There's tons and more than I thought there was, more than I realized how much fans like this character and how much he's already been developed. And I'm surprised, honestly, that he hasn't been on screen before. I mean, but happy to be the first one to do it.
I thought he had such a great intro into the series. I think it was quite breathtaking when you first saw that Wookiee. As an old Star Wars fan, I must admit, I've always loved a Wookiee, but I thought his intro was one of the best out of all the characters. What sort of training did you have to portray him?
Just a lot of mainly just weight training and a lot of stuff to get my endurance up and things like, because wearing the suit and being inside of that, and plus all the fights that I had to do was very taxing on the body.
Yes.
So a lot of it was just was weight training and endurance training, and I did that for several months previous to shooting, because I honestly didn't really know what I would have to do. All I knew was that I was told that if he's always fighting,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh, you're going to be in most of the series. Like, okay, so I'm always fighting in most of the series, so I had to be physically ready for that for sure.
And was it actually quite heavy to wear the Wookiee armor?
I mean, it wasn't as bad as you think. I mean, after a while, yeah. I mean, just your body being constricted, it definitely started to kind of hurt in places after a while. But no, I mean, the Legacy Effects who built the suit and did all the artwork on it, they've been around for such a long time, so they did a really good job at making sure that it was as comfortable as they could make it.
Yeah.
And the rest was really up to me in terms of being able to kind of fight through it for the long hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any special behind the scenes memories you want to share from the Book of Boba Fett?
I
Any
mean,
bits?
a lot of the times when we were in between takes, I wanted to stay. I kept everything on it and take things off a lot of the time. So I'm sure there's probably photos of me and you know lounging in a weird way that you've probably never seen a Wookiee lounge before, or stay. Yeah, it was always funny because I would just be kind of relaxing as Krrsantan, in between takes, and people would walk past and stare at me, and then I'd hear them giggling as they walked around the corner because they saw me kind of laid out a certain way or sitting there with my legs crossed, kind of
Yeah,
lounging. So I'm sure for them that was fun behind the scenes stuff to see.
I'll be watching out for that. I think from all the people I've interviewed, you really are the most all-round filmmaker I've ever interviewed, from an actor, special effects, stunts. You've worked on The Walking Dead, Mare of Easttown, Creepshow, Twin Peaks. What's been your favourite and why?
They all actually hold a piece you know of being my favorite for whatever reason. I mean, most of it sometimes it's just because of the people that I worked with. that
Right.
has a lot to do with it. Some of the shows are you know my favorite just because of the the specific director that I was fans of for my whole life, or just content that I was fans of, or just other crew members that I really really had fun with, and a lot of times it's more than that. I would say uh, when I'm on a show and there's people that I work with that I really have fun with, that I get along with, and they're as excited as I am, and I mean those are the ones that I love the most,
Okay.
because it makes people think because we're making movies and what they see on camera seems fun. It's a lot of work and it's hard, and you're working a lot of hours, and you're with people that you see more than you see your family, really, and and to be there in the trenches with people that you get along with, that you have fun with. I think makes shows that much easier to get through.
Okay.
So a lot of them were like that. Like Predators was like very much like that. We did a ton of nights, a lot of 18-hour days, and traveling. We were in Hawaii, we were in Texas, and we were in the water. We were, and it was super cold or it was super hot. I mean, that was a really, really tough show. But the team, the director Nimrod and Rob Rodriguez and his team, and Greg Nicotero and the KMB team, and the other actors, Derek Mears. I mean, it was great fun. So that's definitely at the top of my list for sure.
I was going to ask you about Predators, about what it was like to work with Adrian Brody and Lawrence Fishburne.
Great, yeah. I mean, Lawrence, I met a short time because I think his stint wasn't as long, but he was a super nice guy.
Yeah.
I think you know I think that the 1-2 days that I was there on set with him, he was just sitting there cracking jokes and kind of bringing a little bit of you know uh levity to the whole situation, because it was a lot of work. It was hot. I mean, not, I was cold that day, and we were at night,
Yeah.
but he was a super nice guy. And same with Adrian. He had a lot to contend with too, because he had to get in probably the best shape of his life
Yeah.
to play that role, and
Yeah.
and just to be like this downright gritty dude. I mean, he had a lot of work to do, but he was nice. Like all the actors, and Mahershala Ali and Walton Goggins, and all the actors were great. And Topher Grace and the whole cast. We had a great time.
I really loved that film, I must admit. I thought I went into it thinking, because I've always loved Predator, and I was very interested in how that was going to work, pan out, that one, and I loved it. So thank you. How did you break into the industry initially, and what's been your career path?
Just it, I've always liked movies as a kid, just a sense of escapism, and it just all always was something that I was into, that I just wanted to know how they were made and researched it, and one thing led to another. I just made a decision to drive out to California. And when I got out there, I literally just made it my job to get a job. So every day I would write a list of places that I wanted to visit based upon research that I've done of what they've made. I used to watch movies, and when the credits would come up, I would write down the names of companies and people's names from the credits.
That's such a good
So
idea.
yeah, and so when I moved out there, I had these lists of names that I saw in movies that I liked, and then back when they had it, but the yellow pages and the white pages, a lot of
Yeah.
companies' names were listed in there. So I would just open up the white pages, and I'd search for these names, and I'd find their names in the white pages and their company names, and I'd write down the address, and I'd drive out there and cross off places that I went to one at a time. And I did it every day for a couple weeks,
Yeah.
and then slowly but surely, just the persistence just slowly but surely started to pay out.
Absolutely. There's a lot of determination. You've started in like special effects and moved into acting, is that right? Or will you always be part of special effects and like the makeup effects and stuff?
Yeah, I think yes, because I mean I always harken back to like Lon Chaney, who was a makeup artist but also an actor. I think it's something that I've always wanted to do as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I always would, you know, make myself up as an old man or a wolf or a monk, whatever it was, and then I'd try to perform those characters, you know, and become
Yeah.
them as a kid. So
Yeah.
so I think it's a natural progression, to be honest. I think as a you know, special effects artist, you know, makeup artist, you already have an idea as to what that character is going to be and how it's going to act. You
Yeah.
have to, you know, and I think and you know, Greg Nicotero, for instance, you know, he started off as a makeup effects artist and now he's a great director. And I
Yeah.
think that he's so great at directing because he knows what how to bring those characters to life and how to shoot them and how to make sure that they feel real and all that. So
Yeah.
so I think it's a natural progression.
Can I ask with Star Wars as well? So do you feel there's a lot of expectation for any new character in the Star Wars universe? Is there a lot of expectations from the audience? And did you feel that yourself in the Book of Boba Fett? Any pressure?
Yes, because I'm a fan. I'm a Star Wars fan, and
Yeah.
so I know how voracious fans could be because I am a voracious fan myself. I've criticized stuff that as a fan, like, wait a minute, you know, so and so would never do that, or so and so would
Yeah.
never say that, or wait a minute, and that was in A New Hope. This is what the Force was like, but why is it that? Yeah, so I was that fan. So yeah, so the moment
Yeah.
a character comes up, instantly I was like, all right, if I mess this up, I'm going to get a taste of my own medicine. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't mess. I have to do the best that I can to make him believable, make him feel real, make him be who John Favreau and Rob Rodriguez and Dave Filoni wanted him to be as well. So it's
Yeah.
a lot of, you know, things to consider. Um, but yeah, it was, yeah, absolutely. It was always on my mind in the very beginning, and even throughout doing it, I highly criticize myself. I would do something, and then literally days after, I would maybe, you know, after a few days of shooting, I would sit back and question and think about it, and oh man, you know, maybe I should have did it this way or that way. But yeah, but that just, again, it just goes along
Yeah.
with being an actor and just such being a part of something that's so beloved as Star Wars.
Yeah, absolutely. I also saw that you worked on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I loved that. What was a typical day for you like on set there?
Well, Quentin Tarantino is he's such an amazing artist. I like to say, and just to see how he works, you know, and how his brain works. I mean, it's hard for anybody to really know how his brain works, but to just see how he works, I think. I mean, the real thing is you just have to be prepared for everything and do the best you can to just like with any project, do the best you can to deliver the best sort of uh, uh, realize his idea the best that you can when he comes up with it. But I think I like challenges no matter how hard they are, and you know, and so a lot of people will shy away from that and get sort of annoyed with that, but not me. You know, when someone gives me a challenge, whether I have 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, or 2 minutes, I try to do the best that I can. I don't know if I always do, but I try to do the best I can to rise to the challenge and deliver what's asked for. And I think that's why his shows are fun, because sometimes you don't know what he wants, and then when he does ask for it's such a great idea that, for anyway, I'm speaking for myself, it's such a great idea that it's like I'm like, okay, I want to do this, you know. That's
Right.
And so you jump on board and you want to deliver and realize those ideas, you know. And speaking of like some of the movies that are my favorite, the ones that I worked on with him are also at the top of that list for their own reason.
Yeah.
And then Once Upon a Time Hollywood was one of those. You know, I had such a great time. the story was great, the script was great. Working with him was great. Working with the actors were great, with Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie, and I mean it was. I had fun with that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean it was a great project, fun project.
I thought that film was terrific. So just finally, will we be seeing you again in the Star Wars universe? And will there be a
Well,
Santy spin-off?
if I was, I would not be at liberty to say. All I'll say was I sincerely hope so.
So do I. I really think we need to see more of Black Krrsantan. I thought it was such a great character.
Thank you. Well, listen, I mean, you know, Lucas and Disney, they listen to the fans. So as long as the fans are asking for it, I'm sure they'll listen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for joining me today on my podcast, and all the best for all your projects this year. And
thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Hopefully see
so
you
much.
again. Thank you
Mine
so
too.
much, Carey.
Cross my fingers too.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Carey Jones for the interview today, and see you soon on The Mighty Dragon.